Namaste and welcome to the Astral Mandir. In Jyotish, Mercury, which is Buddha, is the kāraka of intellect, speech, and communication. Mercury reveals how our minds learn, how we express ideas, and how we adapt to life's complexities. It is the planet of wit, analysis, and adaptability, shaping how we connect with others through words and thought. Today, we will journey through the Nakshatras to see how Mercury expresses its brilliance across these cosmic mansions. We'll now start with the first batch of 9 Nakshatras. So, starting with Ashwini in Aries, which will end in Ashleisha in Cancer. So, Ashwini. Mercury in Ashwini brings a youthful, restless intellect that loves beginnings and experiments. The speech is quick, witty, and often impulsive, carrying a spark of curiosity that lights up conversations. The aura is lively and playful, drawing others into its fast moving ideas. Fathers or teachers may encourage speed, but often lack patience, leaving the native to learn steadiness on their own. The soul here must balance intellect with grounding, learning that wisdom is not just speed but depth. Communication style is pioneering, sometimes abrupt, yet full of originality. The karmic lesson is patience in thought and speech to let ideas mature before expression. Mercury thrives in healing medicine or innovation, where quick thinking is an asset. The wit must be channeled into service, turning restless energy into purposeful action. In Ashwini, Mercury becomes the messenger of beginnings, carrying intellect like a spark of divine fire. The next nakshatra is Bharani. Mercury in Bharani gives a probing intense intellect that seeks justice and discipline. Speech is bold, uncompromising, and magnetic, often carrying weight that commands attention. The aura is commanding, with sharp eyes that reveal inner strength. The father or teachers may be strict, shaping the native's sense of boundaries and responsibility. The soul learns balance between intellect and compassion, discovering that truth must be tempered with empathy. Communication style is authoritative, sometimes harsh, but always impactful. The karmic lesson is to soften intensity with kindness, allowing speech to heal rather than wound. Mercury here excels in law, ethics, or management where discipline and intellect merge. The mind becomes a crucible of dharma, forging clarity through trials. In Bharani, Mercury speaks with the voice of justice, carrying intellect like a sacred flame of responsibility. The next nakshatra is Krittika. Mercury in Krittika sharpens intellect like fire, giving speech that is cutting, clear, and decisive. The mind seeks truth, clarity, and purification, burning away illusions with precision. The aura is fiery, with penetrating gaze that sees through pretenses. The father or teachers may be fiery influences, pushing the native towards purification and discipline. The soul learns compassion alongside sharpness, discovering that intellect must heal as well as reveal. Communication style is direct, sometimes blunt, yet always honest. The karmic lesson is to purify without destroying, to use words as tools of clarity rather than weapons. Mercury thrives in analysis, critique, or leadership, where sharp intellect is needed. The mind becomes a sword of truth, cutting through confusion. In Krittika, Mercury shines as the purifier, carrying intellect like a flame of divine clarity. The next nakshatra is Rohini. Mercury in Rohini makes the intellect fertile and creative, weaving ideas into beauty and art. Just give me 1 minute. Okay, sorry. The speech is charming, persuasive, and poetic. Sorry. Yeah. I'll restart with Rohini. Okay? So the next nakshatra is Rohini. Mercury in Rohini makes intellect fertile and creative, weaving ideas into beauty and art. Speech is charming, persuasive, and poetic, enchanting listeners with its rhythm. The aura is luminous and magnetic, drawing others into its creative world. Father or teachers may be nurturing yet possessive, shaping the native's sense of attachment. The soul learns moderation in desires, discovering that creativity must be grounded in dharma. Communication style is artistic and enchanting, often persuasive in subtle ways. The karmic lesson is to balance beauty with truth, ensuring speech serves higher purpose. Mercury excels in arts, media, and design, where intellect becomes a canvas of ideas. The mind here is fertile, producing stories, music, and visions that captivate. In Rohini, Mercury blooms like a garden, carrying intellect as a song of creation. The next nakshatra is Mrigashira. Mercury in Mrigashira gives a searching, curious intellect that constantly seeks new knowledge. Speech is gentle, questioning, and exploratory, often leading conversations into deeper realms. The aura is soft yet restless, reflecting the deer's wandering nature. Fathers or teachers may encourage exploration but leave the native yearning for stability. The soul learns to balance curiosity with focus, discovering that wisdom lies in depth as much as breadth. Communication style is inquisitive, sometimes secret, but always scattered, and also engaging. The karmic lesson is to anchor curiosity in purpose, turning questions into insights. Mercury thrives in research, travel, or storytelling, where exploration is valued. The mind becomes a seeker wandering through ideas like a deer through the forest. In Mrigashira, Mercury carries intellect as a quest, forever searching for truth in the unknown. The next nakshatra is Ardra. Mercury in Ardra gives a stormy, penetrating intellect that seeks to uncover hidden truths. Speech is sharp, analytical, and sometimes unsettling, carrying the weight of transformation. The aura is intense, magnetic, and often restless, reflecting the storm within. Fathers or teachers may be strict or unpredictable, shaping resilience in the native. The soul learns to balance intellect with compassion, discovering that words can heal after destruction. Communication style is probing, sometimes harsh but deeply insightful. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for renewal, not chaos. Mercury thrives in research, psychology, or technology, where depth and analysis are needed. The mind becomes a storm that clears illusions. In Ardra, Mercury speaks with thunder, carrying intellect as a force of transformation. The next nakshatra is Punarvasu. Mercury in Punarvasu brings gentle, renewing intellect that seeks balance and harmony. Speech is soothing, optimistic, and nurturing, often restoring hope in others. The aura is calm and radiant, reflecting the light of renewal. Fathers or teachers may be supportive, guiding the native towards faith and resilience. The soul learns to balance intellect with devotion, discovering that wisdom lies in renewal. Communication style is gentle, persuasive, and uplifting. The karmic lesson is to restore balance through words, bringing light after darkness. Mercury thrives in teaching, counseling, or spiritual guidance where renewal is essential. The mind becomes a beacon of hope, restoring clarity. In Punarvasu, Mercury carries intellect as a lamp of renewal, shining after every storm. The next nakshatra is Pushya. Mercury in Pushya gives a nurturing, protective intellect that seeks to guide and support. Speech is kind, instructive, and often filled with wisdom. The aura is gentle yet strong, radiating care and stability. Father or teachers may be protective, shaping the native's sense of duty. The soul learns to balance intellect with service, discovering that wisdom is expressed through care. Communication style is supportive, sometimes conservative, but always guiding. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for nurturing, not control. Mercury thrives in teaching, medicine, or counseling where guidance is needed. The mind becomes a shelter, offering clarity and protection. In Pushya, Mercury speaks with compassion, carrying intellect as a guardian of dharma. The last nakshatra in this first batch of 9 nakshatras is Ashlisha. Mercury in Ashlisha gives a mysterious hypnotic intellect that seeks depth and control. Speech is persuasive, subtle, and sometimes manipulative, weaving words like serpents. The aura is magnetic, secretive, and intense, drawing others into its mystery. Father or teachers may be complex or controlling, shaping the native's inner strength. The soul learns to balance intellect with honesty, discovering that wisdom must serve truth. Communication style is subtle, sometimes deceptive, but deeply powerful. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for healing, not manipulation. Mercury thrives in psychology, occult studies, or strategy where depth is valued. The mind becomes a serpent, weaving wisdom through hidden paths. In Ashlisha, Mercury speaks with mystery, carrying intellect as a secret flame. Now we come to the second batch of 9 nakshatras running from Magha right up to Jyeshtha. So starting with Magha. Mercury in Magha gives a regal, ancestral intellect that seeks tradition and honor. Speech is authoritative, dignified, and commanding, often carrying ancestral weight. The aura is majestic, radiating respect and dignity. Fathers or teachers may be traditional, shaping the native sense of lineage. The soul learns to balance intellect with humility, discovering that wisdom must serve dharma. Communication style is formal, sometimes rigid but always dignified. The karmic lesson is to honor tradition while embracing adaptability. Mercury thrives in leadership, history, or cultural studies where lineage is valued. The mind becomes a throne of wisdom, carrying ancestral clarity. In Magha, Mercury speaks with dignity, carrying intellect as a crown of tradition. The next nakshatra is Purva Phalguni. Mercury in Purva Phalguni gives a creative, expressive intellect that seeks joy and beauty. Speech is charming, playful, and artistic, often captivating audiences. The aura is radiant, magnetic, and filled with charisma. Fathers or teachers may encourage creativity, shaping the native's sense of joy. The soul learns to balance intellect with responsibility, discovering that beauty must serve dharma. Communication style is artistic, persuasive, and enchanting. The karmic lesson is to ground creativity in wisdom, not indulgence. Mercury thrives in arts, performance, or design where expression is valued. The mind becomes a stage performing wisdom through beauty. In Purva Phalguni, Mercury speaks with charm, carrying intellect as a song of joy. Next is Uttara Phalguni. Mercury in Uttara Phalguni is exalted, giving supreme clarity, intellect, and communication. Speech is balanced, wise, and deeply impactful, carrying authority and grace. The aura is luminous, radiating confidence and stability. Fathers or teachers may be noble, guiding the native towards dharma and service. The soul learns to balance intellect with responsibility, discovering that wisdom must serve society. Communication style is dignified, persuasive, and deeply respected. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for service, uplifting others through clarity. Mercury thrives in administration, teaching, or leadership, where wisdom guides communities. The mind becomes exalted, shining with divine clarity. In Uttara Phalguni, Mercury reaches its greatest or highest brilliance, carrying intellect as a crown of dharma. The next nakshatra is Hasta. Mercury in Hasta gives a skillful, dexterous intellect that delights in precision and craft. Speech is clever, witty, and often playful, weaving words with artistry. The aura is bright and skillful, radiating confidence and abilities. Fathers or teachers may encourage discipline, shaping the native's talents. The soul learns to balance intellect with humility, discovering that skill must serve dharma. Communication style is precise, sometimes mischievous, but always engaging. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for creation, not manipulation. Mercury thrives in writing, arts, craftsmanship, where skill is essential. The mind becomes a hand of wisdom. This nakshatra in particular has a lot to do with hands. Even the symbol of this nakshatra is the hand. Therefore, Mercury converts from only intellect to using it into craftsmanship, into arts, and into elaborate and beautiful penmanship. These people are very handy, but also could be very artistic in their craftsmanship. It is not just a, a jeweler, it is the person who designs the jewelry and then who makes it. If you are following, the mind becomes a hand of wisdom, shaping ideas into form. In Hasta, Mercury speaks with skill, carrying intellect as a tool of creation. The next nakshatra is Chitra. Mercury in Chitra gives a creative, visionary intellect that seeks beauty and design. Speech is artistic, persuasive, and often dramatic, captivating audiences. The aura is radiant, magnetic, and filled with charisma. Fathers or teachers may encourage creativity, shaping the native's sense of vision. The soul learns to balance intellect with responsibility, discovering that beauty must serve truth. Communication style is artistic, persuasive, and enchanting. The karmic lesson is to ground creativity in wisdom, not illusion. Mercury thrives in architecture, design, or performance, where vision is valued. The mind becomes a canvas, painting wisdom through words. In Chitra, Mercury speaks with artistry, carrying intellect as a vision of beauty. The next nakshatra is Swati. Mercury in Swati gives an independent, adaptable intellect that seeks freedom and movement. Speech is flexible, persuasive, and often diplomatic, adjusting to situations. The aura is airy, radiant, and free spirited, reflecting independence. Fathers or teachers may encourage adaptability, shaping resilience in the native. The soul learns to balance intellect with stability, discovering that freedom must serve dharma. Communication style is diplomatic, sometimes inconsistent, but always persuasive. The karmic lesson is to anchor freedom in wisdom, not restlessness. Mercury thrives in trade, communication, or diplomacy, where adaptability is needed. The mind becomes a wind carrying ideas across boundaries. In Swati, Mercury speaks with freedom, carrying intellect as a breeze of adaptability. The next nakshatra is Vishakha. Mercury in Vishakha gives a determined, goal oriented intellect that seeks achievement. Speech is persuasive, ambitious, and often commanding, driving towards success. The aura is strong, radiant, and focused, reflecting determination. The father or teachers may encourage ambition, shaping the native's drive. The soul learns to balance intellect with humility, discovering that success must serve dharma. Communication style is ambitious, sometimes forceful, but not always impactful. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for service, not domination. Mercury thrives in leadership, politics, or business where ambition is valued. The mind becomes a path leading towards achievement. And in Vishaka, Mercury speaks with determination, carrying intellect as a flame of ambition. The next nakshatra is Anuradha. Mercury in Anuradha gives a loyal, devoted intellect that seeks friendship and harmony. Speech is kind, supportive, and often diplomatic, fostering bonds. The aura is gentle, radiant, and trustworthy, reflecting loyalty. Father or teachers may encourage devotion, shaping the native sense of friendship. The soul learns to balance intellect with independence, discovering that loyalty must serve truth. Communication style is supportive, sometimes cautious but always sincere. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for harmony, not dependence. Mercury thrives in counseling, diplomacy, or teamwork, where loyalty is valued. The mind becomes a friend guiding others with wisdom. Then, in Anuradha, Mercury speaks with devotion, carrying intellect as a bond of friendship. The last nakshatra in this batch of 9 is Jyeshtha, and now we are going into Jyeshtha nakshatra. Mercury in Jyeshtha gives a protective, authoritative intellect that seeks responsibility. Speech is commanding, wise, and often protective, guiding others with authority. The aura is strong, radiant, and dignified, reflecting responsibility. Fathers or teachers may be authoritative, shaping the native's sense of duty. The soul learns to balance intellect with humility, discovering that authority must serve dharma. Communication style is protective, sometimes stern but always guiding. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for protection, not control. Mercury thrives in leadership, law, or guidance where authority is needed. The mind becomes a shield protecting wisdom. In Jyeshtha, Mercury speaks with authority, carrying intellect as a guardian of dharma. So now we come to the last batch of nakshatras which run from Mula in Sagittarius to Revati in Pisces. So we'll start now with Mula. Mercury in Mula gives a deep investigative intellect that seeks roots and truth. Speech is probing, analytical, and sometimes destructive, cutting to the core. The aura is intense, radiant, and transformative, reflecting depth. Fathers or teachers may be strict or philosophical, shaping resilience in the native. The soul learns to balance intellect with compassion, discovering that truth must heal. Communication style is probing, sometimes harsh, but always insightful. The karmic lesson is to use the intellect for wisdom, not destruction. This is a very important point in Mula Nakshatra. Mula Nakshatra is one of the Gandanta Nakshatras, and therefore these are very strong Nakshatras and very focused, or either and because of their focus, they go about it in different ways to get to the bottom of things. And Mula Nakshatra has to destroy to reconstruct. It goes to the roots, it uproots everything. Basically, it is uprooting. And then from there it rebuilds again. And it does this again and again. So therefore, the communication style is probing, sometimes harsh, but always insightful. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for wisdom, not destruction. Mercury thrives in research, philosophy, or healing where depth is valued. The mind becomes a root, seeking truth beneath illusions. In Mula, Mercury speaks with depth, carrying intellect as a seeker of roots. The next nakshatra is Purva Ashadha. Mercury in Purva Ashadha gives a victorious, persuasive intellect that seeks triumph. Speech is confident, commanding, and often persuasive, inspiring others. The aura is radiant, strong, and victorious, reflecting confidence. Father or teachers may encourage ambition, shaping the native's drives. The soul learns to balance intellect with humility, discovering that victory must serve dharma. Communication style is persuasive, sometimes forceful, but always impactful. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for service, not pride. Mercury thrives in leadership, law, or communication where victory is valued. The mind becomes a banner carrying wisdom to triumph. In Purva Ashadha, Mercury speaks with confidence, carrying intellect as a voice of victory. So, fun fact, my Mercury is in Purva Ashadha. It's okay. You are not aware of my complete kundli. So, tell me, how do you find my Mercury being in Purva Ashadha reflecting these qualities of the Purva Ashadha nakshatra? Now we'll move on to the next nakshatra, Uttara Ashadha nakshatra. Mercury in Uttara Ashadha gives a noble, disciplined intellect that seeks truth and dharma. Speech is dignified, wise, and often commanding, guiding others with clarity. The aura is radiant, strong, and noble, reflecting discipline. Fathers or teachers may be noble, shaping the native's sense of dharma. The soul learns to balance intellect with service, discovering that wisdom must uplift. Communication style is dignified, sometimes stern, but always respected. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for dharma, not ego. Mercury thrives in administration, law, or teaching, where discipline is valued. The mind becomes a pillar supporting wisdom. In Uttara Ashadha, Mercury speaks with nobility, carrying intellect as a pillar of dharma. The next nakshatra is Shravana. Mercury in Shravana nakshatra gives a listening, learning intellect that seeks knowledge and wisdom. Speech is thoughtful, instructive, and often persuasive, guiding others through stories. The aura is calm, radiant, and wise, reflecting learning. Fathers or teachers may be instructive, shaping the native sense of knowledge. The soul learns to balance intellect with humility, discovering that wisdom lies in listening. Communication style is instinctive, sometimes cautious, but always guiding. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for learning, not pride. Mercury thrives in teaching, counseling, or storytelling, where listening is valued. The mind becomes an ear absorbing wisdom. In Shravana, Mercury speaks with clarity, carrying intellect as a voice of learning. The next nakshatra is Dhanishta. When Mercury is in Dhanishta nakshatra, it gives a rhythmic, musical intellect that seeks harmony and expression. Speech is rhythmic, persuasive, and often captivating, carrying musical tones. The aura is radiant, magnetic, and harmonious. The aura is radiant, magnetic, and harmonious, reflecting rhythm. Fathers or teachers may encourage creativity, shaping the native sense of music. The soul learns to balance intellect with discipline, discovering that rhythm must serve dharma. Communication style is artistic, sometimes dramatic, but always enchanting. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for harmony, not indulgence. Mercury thrives in music, arts, or performance where rhythm is valued. The mind becomes a drum, beating wisdom through words. In Dhanishta, Mercury speaks with rhythm, carrying intellect as a song of harmony. The next nakshatra is Shatabisha. Mercury in Shatabisha gives a scientific, analytical, intellect that seeks healing and truth. Speech is precise, logical, and often detached, carrying clarity without emotion. The aura is radiant, strong, and investigative, reflecting the healer's path. Father or teachers may be strict or intellectual, shaping the native's analytical mind. The soul learns to balance intellect with compassion, discovering that healing requires empathy. Communication style is logical, sometimes cold, but always accurate. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for healing, not attachment. Mercury thrives in medicine, science, or research, where clarity is essential. The mind becomes a physician diagnosing truth through words. In Shatabisha, Mercury speaks with precision, carrying intellect as a healer of illusions. The next nakshatra is Purva Bhadrapada. Mercury in Purva Bhadrapada gives a mystical, intense intellect that seeks transformation. Speech is deep, philosophical, and sometimes extreme, carrying spiritual weight. The aura is radiant, magnetic, and mysterious, reflecting intensity. Father or teachers may be spiritual or strict, shaping the native's depth. The soul learns to balance intellect with moderation, discovering that extremes must serve wisdom. Communication style is philosophical, sometimes harsh but always profound. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for transformation, not destruction. Mercury thrives in philosophy, occult, or spiritual guidance where depth is valued. Mercury thrives, the mind becomes a flame, burning illusions with wisdom. In Purva Bhadrapada, Mercury speaks with intensity, carrying intellect as a torch of transformation. The next nakshatra is Uttara Bhadrapada. Okay. Mercury in Uttara Bhadrapada gives a stable, contemplative intellect that seeks depth and truth. The speech is calm, wise, and often philosophical, guiding others with clarity. The aura is radiant, strong, and contemplative, reflecting stability. Fathers or teachers may be wise and disciplined, shaping the native sense of depth. The soul learns to balance intellect with compassion, discovering that wisdom must serve humanity. Communication style is calm, sometimes reserved, but always insightful. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for service, not isolation. Mercury thrives in philosophy, teaching, or counseling where depth is valued. The mind becomes a foundation supporting wisdom. In Uttara Bhadrapada, Mercury speaks with stability, carrying intellect as a pillar of truth. The next nakshatra is Revati. Mercury in Revati gives a compassionate, guiding intellect that seeks to protect and uplift. Speech is gentle, kind, and often supportive, carrying healing energy. The aura is radiant, soft, and nurturing, reflecting compassion. Fathers or teachers may be protective, shaping the native sense of care. The soul learns to balance intellect with service, discovering that wisdom must uplift others. Communication style is gentle, sometimes emotional, but always healing. The karmic lesson is to use intellect for guidance, not self interest. Mercury thrives in counseling, teaching, or spiritual guidance where compassion is valued. The mind becomes a guide, leading others with wisdom. In Revati, Mercury speaks with compassion, carrying intellect as a shepherd of souls.